Hello everyone. I hope I'm audible clearly. So, good evening. Today we are going to learn the JavaScript. Yesterday, we have seen that the basics of HTML and the structure of web page. So, I hope all of you are excited for today's session. Yeah, I'm Salman Sheikh, building Scatter. I'm a full stack developer and UX researcher. So, in today's session, we'll cover up the JavaScript fundamentals and few other things, and we'll do a little bit of fun with the JavaScript. Okay, so in the fundamentals, we'll look on to the variables, data types, operators, function and scope. Then we'll look on to that loops, conditions, arrays, and the DOM manipulation. Hope all of you are excited, right? I just wanted to see your excitement in the chat box. Okay, cool. So, what is JavaScript? First, we'll understand the definition part, and then we'll move on to the practical things. And we'll try to deep dive into this session today because we have 2 hours and we'll enjoy a lot with JavaScript today, I hope. Okay, so cool. Yeah, yeah, that's great. And I'm on to the reactions of all of you on into the live chat. So you can drop your questions if you are having questions into the chat box as well. Meanwhile, into the session. Okay, what is JavaScript? It's a dynamic computer programming language which can uh, like be used in client side and the server side as well as Node.js. It's used to make the user web page interactive to the user, right? It's an interpreted programming language, specifically scripting language. And in this, today we'll look out to some of the features of like JavaScript, because JavaScript is lightweight. It's an interpreted programming language. Then it's designed to craft these network centric applications, and there are a lot of complementary things about JavaScript we are going to see. And so open and cross platform language. Cross platform means we can develop the cross platform applications such as like into the React Native and the web applications in the React JS, Angular JS, and Vue JS, and also the server side applications into the Node JS. So yesterday we have seen mm, the basics of HTML. In that we have seen some of the tags. So to write the JavaScript, we use script tag. And today into the workshop, today we'll properly handle this JavaScript code into our HTML page. So this is the syntax where we write the opening tag of the JavaScript, which is a script tag, and the closing tag. And in between both of these tags, we write the JavaScript code. Good evening. Yeah. Okay. So we'll also have a look onto the basic syntax, how we declare the variable, the initialization of the variable, the syntax into the the function syntax, loop syntax, and everything. The basics of syntax we'll have a look today, because I'm just like we are just having an overview, and we'll also look out to some of the keywords which are reserved into the JavaScript. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to share my screen, right? So there is a pre-request I want to like. Okay, there is a pre-request all of you must have to be familiar with VS Code, the Visual Studio Code. Okay, so right now I hope you all are able to see my screen. Right, we are on the desktop right now, and here will work into this, right, onto the VS Code. So I'll open the VS Code right now, and now we'll start with uh, the fundamentals of JavaScript in our VS Code only. I'll make this bigger. Okay, cool. So in this, right now, we are going to create an HTML page, and then after like creating the HTML page, we'll add a script tag, and then we'll start with the JavaScript fundamentals. Okay. So for creating a new web page, I'll go to the VS Code and I'll create a new text file. I'll select the language as HTML. Okay, we'll save this document on our desktop as JavaScript or as index.html. Okay, index.html and website placed. Yeah, cool. So right now we have created an HTML file. So I'll use the boilerplate of the HTML, which is given by the VS Code. So you can use the like shift and exclamation mark. So you can directly print out the whole HTML document, right? The boilerplate. Okay, I hope the screen is properly visible to you all. Okay, cool. I'll make it much bigger, right? So we have seen yesterday the basic structure of a web page. So this is the basic structure of a web page. I'll change the title of the document as JavaScript script tutorial. Okay. Now in this, we'll add the script tag. So for adding script tag, we'll write the script. So this is the opening tag, and this is the closing tag we have, and whatever the JavaScript we are going to write, it's inside and enclosed into the JavaScript tags only. So yeah, right now we are going to start with the basic things in JavaScript. Okay, so one more request I have. So you must also have a Chrome browser open, because we are going to like run our web page, and also uh, use the inspect and the Chrome dev tools to just to like run the JavaScript, because in the Chrome dev tools we'll also do some of the experiments of JavaScript with our web page. So you must also have to be aware of this Chrome dev tools. So you have to open the Chrome dev tools, come onto your Chrome browser, open any tab, and then click onto the okay. So now this is the console where we are going to run our JavaScript. Okay, cool. Now we know we'll start with very basics, as we do in each and every programming language, which is hello world, right? So for printing hello world, what we are going to do in JavaScript is we'll use console. Okay, so console is the command where you can print uh, like different instructions, logs, warnings, errors in of your web page in the browser, just to log into the browser. So we use console.log. So it's a command. In this, we'll write hello world. Okay. Now I'll one more. Okay. So you all have to install the live server, and I'll use the live server here. So okay, I'll just open the file which we have created right now, index.html. Yeah. So we have opened the index.html right now, and in this, we'll click on inspect and we'll go to console. Now you can see hello world is printed over there. Okay. So this is how you can print the hello world in JavaScript. Okay. So this is the console where the JavaScript is going to print way like different errors, which are like syntax errors and different errors which are present into the web page. So it will print directly into the console. So whatever the JavaScript you are going to write and work on that, that will be into the console directly. Okay, so what I did right now, in our VS Code, we have written the console.log hello world. Okay, so I can directly run the JavaScript in the console as well. So if I'm writing console.log hello hello world. So it's again going to print this console.log hello world. Okay. So this was a basic function to just to print a statement or an error or whatever it is. Like, so we can even like if we have to show an error into the console, so we use console dot error and whatever the error is. Okay, so I'll just write as 404 error. So it will print into the browser as error. Let me refresh this. Now you can see it's showing the cross mark over there in the console. And this is the 404 error throwing into the console. So after that, we also have one more function console.warn. So this will help you to print warnings of your web page. So if I'm saying use use proper syntax of JavaScript. So this is what? This is the warning. Okay, so we are going to refresh the page again. Now you can see it's showing it as warning. Use the proper syntax of JavaScript. So this is how you can print the information, the error, and the warning of your web page into JavaScript. Okay, now we know as we have different fundamental in the programming languages. Every language have variables. Okay, which we declare. So in JavaScript, how to declare a variable? Okay, so I'll just make it much more bigger. So we'll write inside of this tags. So this was all about printing statements, errors, and warnings into the console. And the JavaScript console is the important part in JavaScript to just to debug the errors, uh, find the loopholes of your program. So we use console. Now in this, as we have this comment, right? So this is a JavaScript comment. To commenting any line, we use double forward slash for a single line. Okay. So if we have multiple lines to comment, so what we'll do, we'll directly select all of this and into the VS Code, we'll directly okay, we can use this and even use the star for the multiple lines, and we can close it with the star again. So this will be whatever the code is going to be written in between both of these lines, that will be gonna get commented. You can see, right? So now it's commented. So this is multi-line comment, and for single line comment we use forward slash. What are comments? The code we don't want to remove, and we just wanted to like particularly document that code on a particular, like if there is a function variable or any statement over there which we don't want to execute or interpret in our language in our program, but we want that as instruction or something, or we have to use in future references, so we can comment that code or comment that documentation or the statement over there into the JavaScript. For single line we use double forward slash, for multiple line we use a forward slash and star, and then we end with the star and forward slash. Okay, so these are the types of comments we have in JavaScript. Then after this, we have variables, right? So I'll write variable syntax. So how we declare a variable in JavaScript? So first we write the keyword called var. So this is the keyword reserved into JavaScript to declare the variable. Then we write the name of the variable as okay, as variable name, and then we directly initialize the value to the variable with the equal, and then I'll just write it over here in string. Variable name is Google. So if needed, we can give this like semicolon over there. Now this is the variable is declared. So now if I want to print this variable in our console, so I'll just use console dot log variable name. And let's see. I'm refreshing this. Now we can see in the console the Google is printed and it's printed over there. Now we'll create a variable called hello world. I'll assign the value as hello world. Now we'll change the variable in console. We'll print the hello world variable in console.log. So it's gonna print hello world in our console. Okay. So this is how you can declare and initialize the variable with a value. So there are types of variables. Like this is a normal variable we can say, and we can use the keyword let to just to declare or initialize a variable. So there is a difference between let, var, and there's one more const. So right now we have seen var. So we'll use let. Okay. So we'll create a variable let hello equals to world. Now I'll print hello into the console. Once I'm done with this, I'll refresh the page. You can see the world is printed over there. Now, why to use let if we have var? Why to use? So if we are declaring or initializing a variable with the keyword let, so we can manipulate or change the value of the variable in the program while executing the program in the meanwhile in the program. Okay. So let's see how we can do that. So right now we have the value of the variable hello as world, but now I'll change the value of this variable hello. I'll initialize a new value to it as Salman. I'm going to save this, and now I'm refreshing the page so you can see the value is changed right now. It's Salman. In case of const, now we have declared the same variable with a new keyword const. So it's for constant. So it used to declare the constant variables in the JavaScript where we don't want to change the value of the variable uh, meanwhile in the program or into the program. Okay, so that time we use the const. Okay, so now if I'm going to change this, so it's gonna throw me an error that we are using a constant variable and we are assigning the value again to it over here. So it will throw an error. So for a constant value, as we know, the constant we have which is not never gonna change, right? So it's let's say I'm saying the value of pi, right? What is the value of pi? 7 or something. Okay, I'm not good at this, right? But see, so this is a constant right now. So if I'm declaring any value to it, so I'm not gonna change, right? Uh, so this is a constant then, right? I'm 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 even not gonna change that because I'm declaring a constant variable, right? So if we are using the let keyword to declare a variable or to initialize a variable, we can change the value meanwhile into the program. Okay. So this was all about the variables. Now let's come on to the like more things, right? So now we'll create a variable with the keyword let number one, number one equal to, we'll assign a number. Now this is a number type of the data type is number of this, like it's not a string. And we'll again create a new variable called number two, and we'll do an operation addition of this, right? So we'll do one plus sorry, number one plus number two, and let's print this. You can see the three is printed over there, right? So this is how we can do the mathematical operations in the uh, like program. So this is an operator. So now let's see what are the operators in JavaScript. Okay, I hope all of you are getting excited for this. I want to see uh, eh, I want to see your responses into the chat box, right? Okay, so we'll have a look onto the operators. Okay, now what are the operators? Operators where we do perform an operation on different operands. Okay, so we'll start with the arithmetical operations operators. Okay, so first we'll use the addition. Okay, so it's a part of the arithmetical operator in JavaScript. So for that, the symbol of addition is plus, right? And then we'll look out to the subtraction, which is minus, multiplication. For that we'll use star, right? So let me show you, right? Now we'll do perform this operation on these number one and number two values. Okay, so I'll console over here, console dot log, and I'll write a script and also like show you how you can add a variable into the console with the string as well. Okay, so see what we are doing over here is addition of number one plus two. Now we'll print this. You can see I'm refreshing. Okay, it's taking as a string over here, right? So we'll do perform an operation let result equal to number one plus number two, and then we'll directly print it over result, right? So now you can see the addition of one and two is three. Okay, we'll do same for the multiplication. So for that we'll use the star symbol and we'll refresh this, right? Two, two on the two is two, right? And we'll use subtraction, right? For the subtraction, there is a result of like because it's minusing from one minus two, right? Or something. The result is coming around, right? Or minus one or something, right? So this is all are the arithmetical operations. You can even divide with the symbol of this, right? Directly. These are the arithmetical operators. There are different types of operators. Arithmetical operators are there. Logical operators are there. Okay. So now we have seen this is the arithmetical operators. So operators are this. Okay. Now let's see the assignment operator. Assignment operator is equal to this one, like okay. So now in this, we are going to assign a value to a variable, right? So that time we use the assignment operator as we did over here, right? While creating a variable sample equal to. So the value of sample will be this, whatever it is. So we are using the assignment operator over there. Okay. Then there are some logical operators out there. Okay. So in this we have and or not, right? Logical and or not. So yeah, let's play with that. For that we use the and operator. Like okay, so if I have two variables, number one and number two, so we'll do some of the operation with these variables only, right? Okay, so this is for and. So this is the logical and operator, right? So I'll console this console.log. Okay, number one and number two. So it should return number two, right? Directly. Because what it's doing over there is it's checking the first statement whether it is true. If it is true, it's also going to check this one, right? And if there is nothing in number one, okay, we'll also do one more, we'll also do one more operation over here, right? Okay, for that and statement, we'll add some boolean value as well, right? So now the boolean like string number. So these are all of the data types, right? I will do one thing: create a variable value one equal to true. Okay, and we'll also create one more variable as value two as false. So now we have declared this, and we'll check. Okay, first and second both of the variables. Okay, so we are going to check value one, and with the end operators. So this is going to check the first value. If it is there, it will be going to check the another value as well, right? Value two. So we refresh this page. I can see it's returning false because it first it it checked the value one and then it came to the value two. Because of that, it's printing the value the false. If I'm changing value two as value one and I'm changing it as value two, so it's going to return true. Okay. So this was about that particular AND operator. Okay. Now we'll check OR operator. So it checks first condition is true, then it will go and check the another condition. If it is if it is again if it is false or true, whatever it is, it will stay on that only, right? But if the first value is false, then it's gone not gonna check the second value. Okay, in the AND operator. But in our case, it's a little bit different. Now let's have a look. If, I'm using OR operator. So for that, we have symbol these two lines. So this is the OR operators, and we'll write value two. Now, as we know, this is true value, right? And this is false value. It's going to check whether it is true. If it is even not true, if it is false, then it will going to check the another one as well. Okay, let's refresh this. Now it's going to print true. Okay, because first it check the first value and the second value as well. Okay, if it is first one is false, then it's going to check the second value. So it's again gonna print true. See, okay. So this was all about the and and then one more like okay operator is there, not operator. For that we use exclamation, right? So let's see what is not operator, right? So we'll use this operator with equal to or something, right? First we'll use number one. We'll add value as number one equal to, and we'll write the statement as it's not equal to number two because number one is one and number two is two. So one and two are not equal. Okay. So it will print true because these are not equal. But if I am making both of them equal, the value of number one is one and the number two is two, right? So it's showing and returning the value as false. Okay. So this was the not operator, right? So yeah, these are the conditional operators, logical and conditional operators. So let's look out to the another like the last type of operator we are going to see. Okay, comparison. Okay, comparison operator. So in this what we'll do, let me show you. So we know less than, greater than, less than, equal to, greater than, equal to. So all of these are the comparison operator. Okay, so we'll do the comparison operators, comparison. Okay, use the comparison operators between number one and number two value, and even the value one and value two, right? So I'll again print after this this variable in data types and like operators part will directly use the JavaScript and HTML as well because yeah, this is the basic of or the fundamental of JavaScript and it's needed. Okay, so we are going to compare the number one and number two whether both are equal or not. Okay, so specifically it is something we are going to again do that, so the same thing which we had did with the not operator. So I'll print number one is greater than number two. So number one's value is 3 and number two is values is 1, right? So we know that number one is greater than number two because its value is 3 and it's 1. So let's check, it's returning true because it's greater than. But if I'm saying it's less than, so it's gonna return the false because 3 is not greater than, sorry, 1 is not greater than 3. Okay, so these are the comparison of this equal to, and if you are going to equal to, so it's like greater than equal to or something. So if it is not greater but equal to, then it's also again going to return true. So you can see because 1 and 1 are equal to, okay, number one is not greater than but equal to. Okay, so that's why even for the less than equal to, right, it's again gonna print true into the console. So this is all about the comparison operator we have seen right now. And then again we have equal to. So it's gonna check whether the both of the values are equal or not. So let's see. So now it's showing true because one and one are equal one, right? So if I'm writing 8, 1 and 8 are not equal. Okay, it's greater than 1. It is greater than 1. That's why it's printing the false. Okay. So till now we have seen a lot of things onto the console, but now we'll interact with the web page right now. So yeah, I hope all of you are like enjoying the session. I want to see your excitement in the chat box directly. Yeah, so these are the operators, right? Yeah, see, particularly we are going to let this session into a different section. So tomorrow we'll deep dive into different things, right? Okay. We are also going to have React, Node.js, because this is the basic. I know you all some of you are aware of this, but it's important. Okay. So yeah, cool. So we are done with this. We have seen variables, operators, and the comparison operators, everything. Okay. So now we'll create a web page and we'll interact with the web page using DOM. So now what is DOM? Which is document object model. We know what is our web page called as. It's a document. It's a web document. Okay. It's a index. It's a HTML document where we are going to where we do write our HTML code, and into the script tag we are going to write our scripting like code, the JavaScript code. And this is all about the uh, okay. This is all about the the interaction, the making the page interactive to the user. For that we use JavaScript. Okay, so now I'll create a h1 tag with a title, with a heading, right? JavaScript. Now we'll run this in our HTML page. You can see the JavaScript is visible, right? It's in the heading one. As we did yesterday, we have seen the inline style. So I'll write an inline style as text align center. So this text will be in the center right now. It's in the center. Okay, now we'll perform the operations on to this directly. So for that, we'll need to understand the DOM. So what is DOM? DOM is the document object model, right? So whatever the element we have in our HTML page are documented into an object, which is DOM. Okay. Uh, what is an object? We'll also look onto that object and error, but after this. So in this DOM, we do manipulate our elements, right? Right now, I can show you. So you can see each element is there into the elements tab where we are right now. And if I am going to manipulate this element, so this is the manual manipulation. If I'm writing, okay, web dev over here, so this is what I'm doing manually. Okay, but DOM manipulation in JavaScript is you're manipulating the DOM dynamically with the help of JavaScript. Okay, let's do this. For that, you need to you need to understand the selector in JavaScript. What are the selectors? As we discussed in our in the introduction slides, that today we'll see the variables, operators, then the selectors and all. So now we'll look onto the selectors. Okay, okay. Now I'll create a variable. Okay, what the name of the variable will be document. Sorry, document. Now I'll just declare the variable. I'm not going to initialize the value right now, but I'll initialize the value after some time. Okay. Now we want the whole HTML page into an object, the DOM. So what we'll do, I'll assign the value as document. I'll change the name. Now we'll console this document HTML, right? So you can see in this console, you can see the whole HTML code is printed over there. Okay, as we know, our HTML page called as document, right? It's called as document because we have right now what we have did. we directly selected the document. Okay, so this is the keyword. We assign the value of this keyword to this variable which we have declared over here, and we have printed this variable. So in this, we have the HTML page. So if I want any of the element of the HTML page, so I can use different selectors and methods we have. So we'll use a method doc get element by tag name, and I'll write the tag name directly over here, right? So this will be h1. So now in this HTML collection, it's totally it's an object like we where we directly like the like if I'm writing h1 directly, okay, from here, right? I can print. I can see the h1 is there, right? In this, I'll be able to access all of the like properties of the like the element, right? So we have this h1 right now. So if I want the value of the the element, so even I can change the value of it with this DOM. So this is the DOM manipulation we are doing. So this is the document, and this is the method where we are selecting the tag, right? The h1. So we have different methods: get element by ID as well, get element by class name. If we are assigning the ID to h1 as okay tag one. So this is our ID, and we are going to use this ID over here, right? Tag one, and let's refresh this. Now it's returning the whole HTML tag we have over here, right? The JavaScript. So now if I want to change the value of or the text we have between that HTML enclosed tag, it's a JavaScript. So I want to change it as okay JavaScript script tutorial, something like this. So I'm changing this. So this is gonna change into the page. Okay, this is not a temporary change, which like earlier had changed from here, like the manual manipulation we had did with the Chrome Dev tools, right? So this was a temporary change, but right now in the JavaScript, the change we did right now over here is right. So this is not a temporary change. Okay, we have manipulated the document with the JavaScript. Same thing we can do with like the whole document, right? So if I'm adding an ID to this body as body, and I wanted to change the color of the uh, I want to change the color of the whole document as green or blue or red. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll use the method document dot get element by ID as body. Okay, body, and now I'll change the style dot background equal to green. What? Wait a minute. Okay, sorry. We use the variable directly. We- Okay, this was a minute. Mr. Wait. Okay, so now you can see the change in color is done, right? We have manipulated this directly with the help of JavaScript. So what we are doing is we have made some changes with the help of DOM. We have manipulated the DOM, the JavaScript. So this is how we do interact with the with the pages in JavaScript with different methods. Document.get element by ID, by class name, by tag name. So if you're using with the like get element by ID, by class name and tag name, so in a single HTML page, there can be multiple h1 tags. Okay, now you can see I'll write second tag. So this is the second tag. Okay, So if I want to print the elements, okay, I wanted to print the all h1 elements. So this will be okay, something like this: document dot get elements by id. So now you can see there is a little bit of difference over there. So if you are like using the element if you're accessing the elements by class name, so there will be multiple elements, so that's why elements is there. And if you are going to access only single element because id is unique, so that time you use get element by id. And for same for the name, tag name, and yeah. So these are the methods, right? So we'll use by tag name. So in this we'll pass the tag name, which is h1. So now we know in this uh, we in this page we have two h1, right? So it's returning a html collection which has two html element inside of it. So now if I want to modify any one of the element, so what I'll do, or if I want only one element from that particular object, right? So I'll just add something like this. Okay, so we are accessing the index, the first tag of the HTML. So if I want the second tag, so we'll use the index value as 1. So now you can see there will be tag 2 printed over there because we are accessing the second tag. So this is the like this is how I like access uh, the elements with the in this object model. Okay, so I hope you guys are like on things right. Okay, cool. Yeah, this is how we use the DOM. Okay, so now DOM is a document object model. It is an object, right? So now let's have a look on to some other things where by which we can interact with the web page. Okay, okay. So yeah, now we have this HTML uh, tag, and I want to interact with this on my browser directly. If I'm clicking on this, it should pop up something or it should do something. Right? It should take any action. So for that, we have an attribute called onClick. So in this onClick, we can write JavaScript. So if I am writing alert, so alert is a JavaScript function. With that, we can alert something on our web page. So if I'm saying hello JavaScript, so this is going to alert this, right? If I'm clicking on this, so it's going to alert this hello JavaScript. It's alerting, right? I'm clicking this again, so it's again doing that same thing. We can even write the console over here, console.log, and we can write any console statement over here. Okay, the tag is click. So now if I'm refreshing this and again clicking on this, so how the number of times I'm clicking on this, like it's printing over here, like 21 times it printed the tag is click. Okay, this is only happening on this tag. Okay, so if I'm clicking over here on the second tag, it's not going to console anything, right? This is how we can interact with the pages, right? Web pages. And again, we can interact with the another methods as well, right? Okay, I can directly write document dot get element by id, and I can take the id of like I can take the particular element or the id or the event of this, like whatever the element we have written over there. So in this space we can write this JavaScript, right? So now we have seen the basics, like the basic method we can access with, and now we'll look on to the functions in JavaScript. So what are the functions? Functions means an a particular event is like which is going to triggered by the JavaScript or the users on any on a particular condition. Okay, where when the user or the JavaScript is executing that function with different methods while clicking, while moving along with the pages, and on a particular situation or condition, it is which is performed into the web page and the JavaScript program. So let's have a look on the function of syntax of functions. Okay. So we'll write syntax of function. How we write a function? Okay. So firstly, we do write a keyword called function. After that, we we write the name of the function. Okay. So here we'll be going to write the name of the function. So I'll write the function name as okay addition. Then we use the braces for passing the parameters, and then we use the curly braces, and in between the curly braces we write the code to get executed when the function is getting called. So this is how we construct a function. Like we particularly like we have declared this function over here, right? And to execute a function we need to call a function. Then how we call a function, then we will also have a look onto that. And in this curly braces we pass the parameters. So now I'll add the parameters as a and b. Okay. So now in this addition function I'll do the addition of a and b, and I'll return that function, the value of that function directly. I'll return it, right? So it's a plus b. So in this function, the advantage of it is like we can use this function wherever we want it to. Now this is a function. I have two parameters in this function, and I'm going to do an addition of both of these parameters. So, okay. So now I'm going to call this function, okay, as addition. So this is the function. But if I am running this function directly and the calling this function directly, it's not going to perform anything, and it's not going to return anything. Okay. So because we have returned the value over here, so we'll need to console, or okay, first we'll console and then we'll make an alert pop up of this, right? Console.log, and here we'll be having the addition, and I'm running the calling this function, right? Now it's gonna return nothing because we have not passed the value of a plus b. Now we'll pass the value of a plus b as 2 comma 5. So now it will return 7 because 2 plus 5 is 7, right? So now I can do any addition between any value, right? So let's use this function and create a small calculator in HTML, because yesterday we have learned the forms and the inputs in HTML. So for that, we'll create a form over here right now, and we'll close the form, and we'll add two inputs in this. First, we'll add a label as number 1. I'll write the input tag, and we'll directly declare the type as number because we want the number. And again, we'll have a HR tag, horizontal row, and then we'll add a label, and in this label we'll ask for number 2. And now we'll add again an input. The type of this input will be number. Now we'll change, we'll add the ID as num1, and in this as well the ID as num2. So we have both of this input, we can see. So we'll be having this input over there, and we'll add a button. Okay, input type button, and the value of it is calculate. And now on click of this Okay, so we'll use an we'll choose an event listener over here, right? So now you can see there is a button added over here, right? So if we are going to calculate, we are going to write the number and calculate and print the answer over here onto the second type. Okay, so I'll write it as answer. Okay, and write the name ID as answer. Okay, so now what we are going to do is we are going to execute this function or call this function when we are going to like click on to the button calculate, right? And with this, we are also access the value of both of these, right? And I'll remove the parameters from here and I'll add on click directly an event. So this is an event. On click is an event, right? Event attribute, and right now we'll just directly call the addition function. Okay. Now in this we'll create a variable. Let the variable name will be num1 equal to document dot get element by id, and in this we'll pass the id as num1, and let num2 equal to document dot get element by id as num2. Now we'll do the addition. Okay, and this num1 plus num2. Okay, there one more variable will be there. Let result equals to num1 plus num2, and now we'll directly print this result into our HTML page. So for accessing any HTML document, we use get element by ID. So I'll just write document dot get element by ID, and we are accessing the answer. Right now over here we have created an h1 tag, and the ID of this is answer, and we'll change the value of it once we are like done with our calculation. Okay, answer dot inner text equal to, we want something like this, right? Answer is result. Fetch this 4 plus 4 calculate. Now it's written in an object, right? Directly an object. So we'll do one thing. Element by ID answer document. Okay, so we'll first print the result directly. Then we'll do. You see. Okay, one, two. So again object. Okay. So let's see. Okay, why we have not accessed the value of it, right? So we need to access the value because it was like particularly returning the HTML element directly and making an addition of it directly. Okay, 3 plus 3 equal to. Okay, there is the answer. I think we'll console it directly and then we'll debug this. So while working with JavaScript in the console, you must learn the debugging of it directly. Why? Because sometimes it throw some of the errors, and sometime it do some of the things, something like that, where you are even not aware कि कहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है, what's happening, right? So for that, using of console and log, it's must needed because you're debugging something over there, right? So let's check whether our function is working properly or not. So for that, we'll console.log this result, right? And we'll check what's happening. Okay, because 3 plus 3, if I'm refreshing the page, our answer is 3 plus 4 something. It's not returning anything. Why it's not returning anything? Let's check whether our value doesn't have this or something, right? So first we'll debug this, why it's throwing an error. Num1 We'll check the value of number one, right? So yeah, it's not printing the value. Why? So now we'll console over here, console.log, and we'll check whether the value is returning into this console or not. See, I'm writing 3, 3. It's even not returning over there. Something we are doing wrong. What is that thing is? That we need to figure out, right? See, what we did, we have took this get element by ID, right? For inputs, we use value to just to access the value of the document. Still, it's not returning the value. There is something, right? So let's do one thing. I'm removing both of this, right? Directly, and we'll just directly access this right from here because we are debugging right now. I'm making this page much more bigger. We have this one input, take num1 and num2. Again, we'll use document. Okay, sorry. I'll clear the console. I'll write a value of 3, 4 something into the number one, and we'll use document dot get element by element by id, and the id is num1. Okay, so let's check it's returning. Yeah, it's returning the first element, right? So now we want the value of it. So it's returning 34, right? It's returning 34 over there. And this is how we have to take the value, right? What we did for in the first thing, we have console, or we did a console.log over here, right? We are debugging the program because these are the things which are most important. Because if you are not debugging anything, like you'll be stuck uh, on a small, like small like problems uh, for a long time. What we did is we first check the value of this. First, we check the element whether it's coming or not. Then we check. Then we have checked the value. So let's write the code again. Now we'll write the code over here, right? As let num1 equal to document dot get element by id. Now in this, we'll pass num1. Now let's console this. 34 calculate. So this is returning the HTML element directly. Okay. So now we need a value. We'll refresh the page and we'll write a value, and we'll now you can see it's returning the value. Yeah, it means it's working. Right. I'll again show you. See, there's a value of 49. Clicking on calculate, so now it's returning the value. It means it got the value, right? So this is how we have to access and debug program. So now we are again going to access the get element by id num2 and its value. Okay, and now in this result, we'll print the result console.log result. Let's see work or not. Okay, so now 30 plus 20. So return. Okay, it's returning in string, right? So we'll need to use the pass integer, right? Because there's a function pass int. Okay, so we first directly pass the integer into this. Like there is a syntax over here. You can see this is the function pass integer where you pass the string and elect the number or something, right? So we'll pass num1. Okay, so here you can add the radix number. So specifically, I'm writing the 10 something. I'm again passing the integer num2 10. Right. Let's refresh this. 30 plus 20, calculate. Again, it's doing the same thing, right? Okay. And one more thing, like you use this VS code, like whenever you use the VS code, whatever you are going to write or any function, if I'm using pass integer, right? Pass int, it's a function, right? So if I'm on this function, I'm not aware of this function a lot. So you can like particularly if you are not aware of this function a lot, you can particularly check the VS code description. It's a function used to convert a string into a number, right? Okay. So whatever the number you have, you directly pass it as a string and it will return as a number, right? So this is the function which you use to return the, the numbers, right? This is how it works, right? So and again, if for any even if it is an alert function, right? You're writing, you can see it also shows what parameter you have to pass from the function and the data type of it, whether it will just accept the number, string, object, array. Okay, so it accept any and returns nothing. So this is the return type of it, void, null. Okay, it's not gonna return anything, but it's gonna return the, now we have added the number one, and now we want that particular num2, okay, into the strings, right? So we use any radius number over here, and then we directly convert or pass uh, the string into number. Okay, and when we are going to like print the result, so that will be a integer, right? So specifically, this is a function pass integer used to convert the string into the numbers. And even if I'm hovering onto this, you can see the return type is number over there. Okay, it's going to return a number, right? So yeah, so see, I'm going to remove this. This is how you can access the elements, like okay, with the get element by id, and with this on click method we can perform any event. Okay, so if I'm clicking on this button, it's going to perform this event or something, right? There's one more like function or method we can use of JavaScript is add event listener. So this is we use with any element, right? So let's say we have this element, right? Num1. I'm going to use this. I'm going to remove the function. We are just using this function over here, right? Directly. So num1 the add. So in this you can see the type of key of that particular window map where we are going to pass the uh, the event listener. Then we directly click declare the listener over there, which kind of event it's going to target. So if I'm like passing this num1 and the event is click. Okay. So with this particular function, we can like uh, add event listener while we are clicking or hovering or something, right? So as we did over right now. So if I'm on, so if I'm using on change, right? So what we'll do, we'll add on change on number one, right? On change. So in this, we'll do something. We'll alert. What the alert will type over here, value is changed. Okay, let's see. See. So if I'm changing the value as 2, so it's going to alert is value is changed, right? Okay, so this is how it changed the value. If I'm again changing this value, so this is an event listener. Then there is on mouse over. It's one more event is there. If I'm letting my mouse over onto that element, it's going to perform the JavaScript. So all of these are the events. What are these? These are the events of the JavaScript events, right? Where we can particularly uh, like do anything, call any function, or manipulate any document with this. Okay, this is as much as simple, right? This on mouse move, on mouse over, and many of the events are there. So this was all about the like DOM and the manipulation of DOM and like making the page interactive. Okay, we did a simple calculation. eh, If I'm even changing the value, so it's again doing that only, right? I'm refreshing the page, so it's not gonna do again, right? Because I have removed the like the alert function from the code. So I want to change the value of this on click. Okay, what I'll do, I'll remove this input, but I want this button over there, and I'll use the on click. Okay, I want to change the value of answer as to hello or calculate or something. So we'll do something like the document.get element by ID. Now in this we'll use the small one. So what is the ID of it? Answer. Okay. Dot inner text equal to hello. Refreshing this, I can see the text is changed as hello. I have written an inline JavaScript directly onto the tag. So I changed the value of it. Please take time from DOM. Okay, yeah, let's print the time. Okay, so okay, we'll do it. Now we are into the form. We have removed the form, and I'll click. I'll write it as okay, time, and then I'll create a span. It's a span tag. Okay, now see, we'll add an ID to this span. This will be the time, and this will be time span. Yeah, okay, so let's do it in JavaScript. So we'll directly write the code, something like this. Let's create a variable, let time equal to date. First, we'll take the date and date, then everything okay. As we know, there are multiple uh, first we'll take the date and then we'll again do some other things into that as well, right? So again, oh, we'll print the date as well. So I'll create one more ID, and then I'll, I'll create date. Okay, okay, creating span, closing this ID, date, span. So now here we'll be going to have the date, and in the bottom side we'll be going to print the time. So the JavaScript allows us to print to access the local machine's date and time directly, which is in the browser. Okay, so for that we how we do it, like see, first I'll check it as date, and then I'll directly do one thing. I'll go to document dot get element by ID, and we'll change the value of date span. Sorry, date span equal to uh, inner HTML equal to first. What we have is date span, and okay. So we'll try to this. We'll console this console.log. We will print date. So you can see it's printing the date as September 2024 and the time is 7:16, right? It's in like it's a full time and date, but we only want the date into the date one, but we only want that time into the time section. Okay, so we'll split both of this into a small part, right? Something like this. So just have a look, right? So date, and for that we'll particularly again one more we'll create one more variable. Okay, so again let me see chats. You can drop your comments and all over here, right? So I can have a look over there as well, right? So I'll create a time. You will do. We'll just directly take the date object. So this is a particular function which allows us to access the local machine's date and time, right? So for the time, we'll directly make this function as a the current time we are like letting over here. So I'll just take it as okay. So we are going to have the current time into this, and I'm going to access the particular the hours, minutes, and seconds, different parts, right? First, we'll print from time. We'll print the time. Remove this date. Okay. Again, is we'll also take this as a new object, right? Right. Time dot. We want just uh hour. Okay, get hours. So let's see. We are not in the date span. We don't want to do this, right? Date span will be date. For that, we'll need to first we'll console it and then we'll apply it on that HTML, right? So I'll do console, and here we'll be going to have that time dot get hours. So now we have this function like get hours, and we'll run this function. So it's returning in 24 hours of like format, which is 19. It's 7 right now, and then we'll take the minutes, something like this, time dot get minutes. So it's showing 7:20, which is the current time. You can see it's 7:20, right? So now it's printed the time, right? And again, we can even take the milliseconds as well, right? For that, we'll add a string and then we'll time dot get milliseconds, right? Now this is we'll need to call the function, right? This is gonna print the milliseconds as well, right? It's 7:20 in the time. Now we'll print this time directly over here. So we'll copy this whole code and we'll use the manipulation document dot get element by ID, and in this we'll use the time span dot inner text equal to this. Hey, see, now it's even changing the milliseconds, right, in the time. If we want seconds, get seconds. So now it's going to return the seconds. Okay, it's 7, and it's continuously going to change the seconds, right? You can even directly write a code which is automatically change the time with respect to the like clock. Okay, means now this 40s is stuck over there, right? The clock is stuck right now. When I'm refreshing this, then it's only going to change the seconds, right? And the minutes. We can even do this dynamically in JavaScript, where we can particularly uh, like continuously change the seconds. Okay. Okay. Hope you got this. I just have a look onto the chat box. Yeah, I can explain. So, yep. Specifically, we have declared this data object. We can, and then the time variable over there, and then we have logged this date. I'm going to remove this, and now we have accessed the element with date span, where we have created an element called a span. Okay, with it has an ID of date span, so we have accessed the element with the get element by ID, and then we have changed the text of the inner text of this element as date. So it's printing the full date. So if I want only year and like a different time of date, like UTC date, okay, so I can even do that, because there are some functions we can do use of. Okay, or if we want just a full year or something, month. So if I'm just selecting the month, so it's going to take month only, right, to run this. Okay, so see, it's currently 8th month right now, September. So it's returning 8 over there. Get full year will return, get full year will return the 2024. Okay, this is how it works. Okay, so I hope all of you like understood the concept of this. Now, what we'll do is we'll simply change the time, right? See how in real time. Or now we had did this a small thing, right? Now we'll create a function which will print the time in real time. Okay, so for that we'll directly do a small, like we'll create a function. Okay, function real time, and we'll just take this object and all into this only directly. So we are tagging the date as, we don't want the date right now. We'll just change the time. Now you can see. Now we'll console log the time. Okay, so I'm going to console dot log the time to local. We want local time, right? So we are just taking the local time string only from that particular function, right? Object. So let's run this function in console directly, or just call this function. Let's check what's in our console. Okay, so it's returning the time, okay, in the local time string. Now what we want is it should like directly print the time. Okay, so we'll use set interval function of JavaScript, and we'll call this function real time, and then we'll set an interval of 1 second, which is 1000 millisecond, and we'll refresh this. Okay, you can see time is getting printed into the console directly on each second. Now we want this time to change into this one, right? What we'll do, we'll directly uh, do this like the manipulation as we did in console in our like HTML element as well. So for that, we have used the set interval function where we are running this function in a interval of like 1 second. So it's running the function continuously. Okay, hope you got this. Okay, cool. So we have seen some of the functions, and we also manipulated the document directly with the help of JavaScript. We have seen the DOM today, and now today we'll have a look onto the last topic of today is array and object. Okay, and from tomorrow we'll be going to start the React directly. Okay, so for this we are going to like change the direct content of it directly onto that document dot, and we'll do this, and then we are done with our date and time. Okay, which is time span dot inner HTML, sorry, inner text equal to, which is time to local day to local time string. So refresh this. Now you can see we have created a clock. Okay, so it's changing the time directly into the HTML, right? Okay, so that was cool. Okay, so yeah, now we'll remove all of this code and this one as well, and now directly we'll work on to that we work with the arrays on objects. Okay, so now what is an array? So let's understand array first. You know what is an array? Array is a collection or a set of elements. Okay, a set of elements. Now what are the elements? Like element can be 1 2 3 4 5 6 a b c d e f g h. Okay, so these are the elements. Now how to like create an array, right? So there is a function in JavaScript as well, but right now we are not going to use that. We are just like creating a variable called as array. Okay, so array equal to, for the syntax to create an array, we directly add a curly braces. Sorry, the braces. Okay, not the curly braces, square braces. And in this we add our element. We write our element. See how? First 1, comma 2, comma 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, 4. So now these four numbers are the elements of this array. Let's print this array. Console.log array. Now you can see it's printing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And it's also showing the length of it. Like it has 4 elements, so it's showing 4. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is the index number of the array. In JavaScript and in every programming language, the indexing starts from the 0. Okay, so if I want to access the first element of this array, so I'll write 0 in bracket. So this is how you access the element of the array, right? Now you can see if I'm refreshing this, so it's returning me 1. So if I want the second element of this, so I'll write 1, not 2, to access the second element of this array. So you can see we have this 2 printed over here. So we have access the uh okay, the number over here, right? Directly. I'll print 3 over here. So it's gonna print 4 number because the index number of 4 is 3, and we are uh like passing the index number right directly into this. Now, why we use array? So this is a set of elements where we have multiple elements and types of uh, data types or something like the collection of it in a single variable. So that is array, right? Okay, and now we can add multiple types of element into this, right? I'll write 5 in this array. So now all of these are the numbers, and this is a string. Okay, so let's print this 5. I'm writing the index number of 5 is, so it's gonna print 5. Okay, so this is how you access the elements of the array. And while like if you want to print the array directly, so you can just call it. Okay, you can see now it's the length of the array is 5 because 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is the fifth one, right? The element. There are 5 elements, sorry, in this. So as we know, like the length of this array, so we can even add one more element into this directly. So see, now I'll push an element into this. Right? Array dot push. I'll push a string. Hello world. Okay, let's refresh this. So now we know there is there are 6 elements are in this array because we have added this dynamically. Hello world. We have added this dynamically, right? We can add a number directly 5. Oh, it's a number over there, right? So this is the push function we use to push the array, right? There's one more function is there, pop. Now, uh, here particularly, you push pop a number or something, right, directly. So there are different functions of array we have, but this is how you access the array. Okay, access the element of array, and you can manipulate the element of array as well. So if I want to like print this in, okay, so I want 5. I don't know this. Now we have seen this array. Let's have a look onto the object name. Okay, users or students. Okay, sorry, students object. We have this object. We are going to create this object. So for creating an object, we use curly braces. Okay, uh, and this is a normal object. So we'll write that as a student object, and in this I am going to write the name as Om Prakash and age as 20, then college is IIT 10. Okay, so now we have the student object. Okay, so let's print the student object in console. Sorry, it should have to be in string. You can see we have got this object in our console. the name of the student, the age of the student, and the college of the student, right? If we want the age only, so we use dot, which dot to access the key. So in a object, what is the difference between an array and an object is because array is a set of elements, right? Set of elements. What is an object is? Object is a collection of key and value pairs. It's a collection of key value pairs. So this is the key, name is the key, and this is the value of this key. And there are pairs of the key value. So you can see the key and the value, key and the value. So this is a pair, like this one is the first pair, second and third. Okay. So this is a collection of key value pairs. Okay. So if I want to access the age, so I'll use dot and it will gonna print the age only. Okay. Of the student, right? It's 20. And one more method you can use as we do in our array. Same thing we can write the key over here and we can print the age and it's printing. This how we like access the object, and there are many ways to access and manipulate as well. And one more thing we have array of object. Okay, so array of object means the collection of object. Okay, the collection of object in the elements we have, so that is an array of object. So let's say I have 10 students, right? So I want to store the 10 students data in a single array. So what I'll do, I'll create a array of object. Okay, let's say we are creating in a like student list. Okay, student list. So first we'll create an array and then we'll add the object in this, right? So now first student data I'm going to write over, right? So this is the first element and then there will be a comma and we'll again have the second student. So Om Prakash, no, Om Nitin. So this is the second student and we'll also add third student directly, right? Om Shukla. Okay, so we have three students in a list, right? So now we'll console or we'll print the list of students. Okay, student list. We have this array and we are going to print this array of object. So now you can see in the first index we have Om Prakash and the second we have Nitin and Shuk. Okay. Oh, to access Om Shukla, first we'll need to access the last element, which is second. Then I want the name of the student. So it will print Om Shukla. Okay. So this is how you work with the array in the JavaScript, array and objects in the JavaScript. So understand the array is a collection set or collection of elements, and this object is the collection of key value pairs. What is key value pairs? Okay. Hope you understood this. Where is the meeting right now? Okay. So now what we'll do is we'll print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and the student name or student list directly into the HTML page and we are done with array and object. Okay. Now as we have this data, we also have to print this data into our HTML page. So I'll write the heading of this page as student list. Okay. And now we'll create the student list right into this page directly. So for that we can even use table, we can even use list and many other things, right? Okay, I hope you're understanding this. If you have any questions, just drop into the chat box, so I'll be able to reply you directly. Allow me some time, okay? Okay, I'm back. So as we have this three, as we have this array, the student object, it's a single object and it's an array of object. So as we have printed all of these things in console, we'll also use this in the HTML as well. For that, we'll create a unordered list UL. Yesterday we have seen this unordered list, and we'll give it an ID as student list. Okay, so this is an ID of this. And now we'll create a function. Okay, so what will the function is display students. This, okay, so I'll create a function display students. So now in this function, we are going to write our logic to just to print the students. So first of all, we'll access the element which we have student list called. So we'll access this element and we'll store that element into student list, right? So we'll create a variable called student that okay student dash list. So this is a variable name, and we just okay, and we'll directly access that document dot get element by ID. What is the ID of the it is student list, right? I'll copy this and paste it over here. Now document dot get element by ID and student list. Now in this, what we are going to do, we are directly going to manipulate the document with the help of our logic. So we are storing this element into this variable student list, and then with the help of this variable, we are going to like do some changes into that. So now we have to do one thing. We are going to create a loop, which is a for each loop. Okay, because we have multiple entries and student into this array of object. So first we'll call that array of object. What is it? Student list, right? So we have this student list and we'll use for each. Okay. Now in this for each, we'll be having an arrow function. So what is an arrow function? And in this we declare a particular key of this like student. Okay. Now after this, in this arrow function, we'll write our logic. Okay. So now we'll create an element into the HTML document. So see how. I'm going to create an item. Okay. Because in this list we are here like uh, there's only list is there. There are not a single list item is there, right? So I'll get list item, and in this list item we'll create an element with the document, right? Document dot create element. So as we can access the element of any document, so as well as we can create the element as well. So we are going to create the element, and that element will be a list item. Okay, so this is how we have created this list item, and we are just directly going to close the statement. Now into the list item, we are going to change the text content. Okay, so the text content will be, now we are going to use delay and the name. We are going to access the variable as student dot name and then we are having age. We're going to print the student age and the college respectively. College. Okay, yeah, see, student dot college. Now we'll close this string and run with this, right? Now what we'll do, we'll append this into our list because we have just created this. We have not like added this. So there is a function append child. Okay, to add any element into or append any element into that parent element, like in HTML. So we have the student list as our parent element. So what we'll do, append child, and in this we'll directly pass our list item. We're going to save and run this directly. You can see the student list. We are done with our function, and now we only need to call this function. Now will this call this function display student? Yeah, let's refresh this. You can see now student list is printed over here. Om Prakash, Om Nitin, Om Shukla, the age and the college. If I'm changing the data, Om Kumar, so it's also changing over here as well. Kumar and sorry. Hmm. I was changing over Om Kumar, and now yes, you can see changed. Okay, now the Om Kumar is there, Om Nitin is there, Om Shukla is there. Okay, so this is how we can like particularly print the data and manipulate the data of any HTML page, or we can directly uh, create the element into the HTML page and append the child and element. This is how we can do this, right? So this was an example. Okay, this was an example, and I am done with array student or like the object and the array of object. So today we have seen, I'm just have in summary. Today we have seen. Okay, 1 minute, right? Today we have seen this array of object, variables, function, data types, and operators. So I hope all of you got the basic fundamentals of JavaScript, right? So for now, as we are done with this, from tomorrow we'll look onto that React. Okay. So if you have any question, you can ask me into the chat box. I'll answer you into the chat box. If you don't have any questions, then show your reactions in the chat box because I'm waiting for your reactions as well. So I'm done. So we are done with today. Okay. So if you have any question, then you can ask directly. So I'm waiting and will respond to you directly because we have a little bit of time remain. I want to see okay. Why we have not used iframe in HTML5? We can use it, but it's about it's your requirement where you particularly embedded a page into your web page from any external resources. So surely we'll do that in React. Okay, we'll use iframe or something. We'll embed a different page into our page. Okay. Any other question? Okay. Thank you so much. so much for your like okay for attending this workshop. So I think we'll again meet tomorrow at 6 p.m. again. Okay. So thank you so much for your time. Have a good day. Bye bye.